This is an iHeart podcast.
The Democrats should just do a simple extension. That's the best way. The Democrats are holding it up. They want $1.5 trillion for people that came out of prisons, for illegal aliens that come into our country. We don't want to do that because that will really hurt the health care that we have in our country. And frankly, we'd like to see better health care, period.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Tuesday morning. It's nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update. Ben Ferguson with you. And here are the two big stories that are coming out of the White House this morning. First up, there was a massive win for the president when it comes to deploying the National Guard. This time coming from the 9th U.S. Circuit decision, dealing with him doing exactly this in Portland. And what does this mean for other cities around the country? Also, a massive bombshell, this time coming from Senator Chuck Grassley, saying he now has proof that Biden's Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, plus the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, all personally approved opening Arctic frost to go after Donald Trump and conservatives that were aiding and supporting him. I'll have more details on that in a second. But first, every so often, something happens that reminds us just how fragile our freedoms are. We can't afford to take our rights for granted. We must draw a line in the sand. And our friends at Patriot Mobile have been doing just that for more than 12 years. The truth is, there is only one provider that boldly stands in the gap for Americans who believe freedom is worth fighting for. And that company is Patriot Mobile. Not only are they leading the red economy, they're also outpacing the competition in technology. Patriot Mobile is one of the only carriers offering premium access to all three major U.S. networks, giving you nationwide coverage and service that you can count on day after day. They also offer unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, internet backup, and so much more. And switching has never been easier. You can activate in minutes on your phone from your home or your office. And you keep your same number you've got now, keep your same phone, or upgrade to a new one. And this is where the magic happens. Every month, about 5% of your bill is given back to conservative causes at no extra cost to you that stand up for our First and our Second Amendment rights, the rights of unborn children, and our wounded warriors, and those that have fought for our country and wear a badge. So take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Ben47 or call 972-PATRIOT. And if you use the promo code Ben47, you're going to get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Ben47 or 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number one.
The 9th Circuit saying that President Trump can send the National Guard to Portland is another massive win for law and order. And if you think that the left is going to sit down and just say, okay, fine, the president's going to be able to be the president and he has the authority to do this and he was elected to do it, you're wrong. MSNBC having a total meltdown as Lisa Rubin had to read the 9th Circuit decision authorizing Trump to deploy the National Guard in Portland. Take a listen to how they spun it on MSNBC.
Yeah, and I want to just correct one thing and then explain why functionally it is the same. This is a stay of Judge Immergut's opinion, and that's why it reached the 9th Circuit as soon as it did, because this is an emergency motion to essentially pause her order. But as a functional matter, you are absolutely correct. It has the function of overturning her order and thereby allowing the president to send the National Guard back onto the streets of Portland. And Katie, I want to read, if I can, just from a little bit of the beginning of this 93-page opinion. It says, after considering the record, and by the record they mean all the factual evidence at this preliminary stage, we conclude that it is likely that the president lawfully exercised his statutory authority under 10 U.S.C. Section 12406. That's the statute we've been referring to as Title 10 when we have conversations about the National Guard deployments, which authorizes the federalization of the National Guard when the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. And this is the important part. The evidence the president relied on reflects, quote, a colorable assessment of the facts and law within a range of honest judgment. We thus conclude that defendants are likely to succeed on the merits of their appeal, basically saying that when and if a court considers all of the record in this matter is tried and it gets back to an appellate court through an ordinary process where they have full briefing and full evidence, that they still think Donald Trump is likely to prevail there because he has the discretion to determine as the president within a range of honest judgment when it is reasonable to deploy the guard.
This is what you and I were talking about last week.
It is very clear. The left realizes now they're running out of ways to stop President Trump from doing his job, a job that he was elected by the American people to do. And they're going to do everything they can to continue to try to stop him. But as we witness what is happening now in Portland and the total number of arrests nationwide in the last 9 months, and law and order that is also being restored to incredibly violent cities like Portland, Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, and many more to come, including Chicago. What you're witnessing is a president that is doing exactly what he promised he was going to do. Keep all Americans safe, no matter where you live.
Now story number 2.
It happened several years ago, but we're now finally starting to get to the bottom of the corruption at the deep state under Joe Biden's leadership. You may remember us talking about Arctic frost. And that was an FBI DOJ investigation that was opened in April of 2022 as a, quote, sensitive investigative matter. It focused on efforts they claimed at the time to overturn the 2020 election. That's right. They were saying that Donald Trump was trying to overthrow the will of the people. Multiple outlets and Senator Chuck Grassley's committee are now describing it as a precursor to Jack Smith's D.C. case against Donald Trump. Grassley's office says agents issued hundreds of subpoenas, conducted dozens of interviews, and sought call records for 8 Republican senators and 1 House member from January the 4th through the 7th of 2021. We now know that list has expanded and now includes Senator Ted Cruz. We also know that not only were they spying on elected members of Congress that were Republicans only, they also targeted GOP-aligned organizations. Notable actions linked to Arctic frost include the FBI's August 9th, 2022 seizure of Representative Scott Perry's phone, surveillance used to locate him, and broader requests tied to alternate electors. Later, elements fed into Special Counsel Jack Smith's work. Which brings us to the new bombshell. Chuck Grassley has now released documents he says show proof that the Attorney General Merrick Garland, the Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and FBI Director Christopher Wray personally approved opening Arctic frost in April of 2022. Multiple write-ups cite the memo and handwritten sign-offs, and Grassley posted the claims publicly as well. Now, Grassley's characterization is simple. He framed Arctic frost as a sweeping, partisan overreach that weaponized law enforcement and surveilled members of Congress. He ties it to Smith's now dismissed D.C. case, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So let's break this down a little bit more. The former Attorney General Merrick Garland and former FBI Director Wray decided to approve the sensitive matter, and that led to the surveillance of virtually every Republican that we know of right now. It helped spark a special counsel probe, which was what it was designed to do into Donald Trump's, quote, efforts to overturn the 2020 election. That obviously was a lie. Grassley now signed the new documents he received from the Department of Justice, and Garland's approval of the sensitive investigation matter on April the 5th of 2022, recommended by the Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. And what it did was authorize the FBI's Washington field office to launch a, quote, full investigation into what officials described as a articulable factual basis indicating the existence of a federal crime, quote unquote. They said it involved Trump and individuals closely associated with Donald Trump, which is exactly how they opened the fishing expedition to go after Trump and to try to lock him up. Now, the launch of Arctic Frost and the investigation would then lead to the appointment of the special counsel Jack Smith in November of 2022. Quote, proof that Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and FBI Director Wray all personally approved opening Arctic Frost, Grassley said in his statement. This investigation unleashed unchecked government power at the highest levels. My oversight will continue, Grassley says. Grassley also announced earlier this month that at least 9 Republican senators now were targeted by the FBI in this probe. On October the 6th, Grassley said FBI agents conducted toll record analysis, a form of communications metadata review, on several GOP lawmakers, including Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, and Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. The toll analysis of the phones could have revealed whom each lawmaker contacted by call or text in the days surrounding the January the 6th, 2021 Capitol riot. Grassley called this worse than Watergate. In addition, 92 Republican or conservative-aligned groups and individuals, including Turning Point USA, co-founded by slain conservative leader Charlie Kirk, were also targeted, suggesting that Arctic Frost was, quote, much broader than just an electoral matter, Grassley said during the briefing. He said this shows now that they were targeting their political adversaries. Arctic Frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan GOP agents and DOJ prosecutors could achieve their partisan ends and improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus, Grassley added. FBI Director Kash Patel also coming out vowing transparency and accountability following the revelations after Grassley's announcement. We terminated employees. We abolished the weaponized CR-15 squad. And we initiated an ongoing investigation with more accountability measures ahead, Patel said. CR-15 was the FBI's Washington field office squad focused on investigating federal public corruption. In reality, it was just going after conservatives. In May, the FBI quietly disbanded CR-15 and reassigned its agents as part of a broader reorganization and shift in priorities. So here we are with even more evidence that the Biden administration did everything they could, not only to go after Donald Trump, but to go after anyone that supported Donald Trump politically. And any up-and-coming conservative that they found a threat was then put on their list to be investigated. Thank goodness President Trump is now in the Oval Office, and the people around him are making sure that this never happens again.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is an iHeart podcast.